What if the monster haunting your home wasn't just a creature, but a reflection of everything you've been running from? What if its hunger wasn't for flesh, but for your doubts, guilt, and fears? And here's a tougher one. What if the only way to defeat it was to face it with the very person you've been trying to protect? Little Bites 2024, directed and written by Spider-One, dives headfirst into those questions with a story that's as much about addiction and single motherhood as it is about horror. It takes us into the life of Mindy Vogel, a woman torn between protecting her daughter Alice and being consumed, literally and figuratively, by the monster in her basement. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today, we're sinking our teeth into Little Bites, breaking down its story, its chilling ending, and what it all really means. So grab your popcorn because we're about to unpack everything from the monster Agyar to the mother-daughter bond that keeps this story alive.
Lovely song.
The setup: a mother, a monster, and a secret. The story opens with Mindy Vogel, played by Krsy Fox, a single mom carrying a secret so dark that even her closest family doesn't fully believe her. Her daughter Alice has been away, staying with her grandmother for over a week. Alice can't wait to come home, but Mindy has been avoiding her, not because she doesn't love her, but because she's terrified. You see, Mindy's hiding a monster in her basement. His name is Agyar, a ghastly, grotesque figure played by John Sklarov, who feeds on Mindy in little bites. He doesn't kill her outright, he savors the process, leaving her weak, tired, and on edge. Every time he's hungry, he rings a bell, and Mindy comes down knowing she'll lose another piece of herself. It's a chilling metaphor for addiction, where each bite is like a relapse, a needle mark, or a destructive choice she can't resist. Mindy's fear is simple but heartbreaking. If she dies, Agyar will turn his hunger toward Alice, and so she keeps her daughter away, sacrificing her own strength just to buy Alice a little more time. But like any monster that represents our deepest struggles, Agyar doesn't stay contained for long. The visit from Child Protective Services. Things take a darker turn when Gail, a concerned parent, runs into Mindy at the grocery store. Gail notices Mindy looks sick and unstable, and soon after, Child Protective Services gets involved. Enter Sonia Whitfield, who shows up at Mindy's house to investigate. Sonia's sharp, cautious, and not easily fooled. She notices things, like the strange bell sound coming from the basement. The first time she checks, she doesn't find anything, but she makes it clear Alice must come home soon, and she'll be back to make sure everything is okay. This sets a timer ticking for Mindy. She's barely holding herself together, terrified of losing her daughter to the system, while also keeping Agyar fed enough to prevent disaster. Her world is collapsing in two directions, externally from CPS and internally from the monster in her basement.
It's no good. A taste of misery and this.
The stranger and the failed sacrifice. Desperation makes people do risky things. For Mindy, it meant luring a stranger named Paul back to her home. She drugged him with ice cream, dragged him to the basement, and offered him to Agyar. The idea was simple: feed the monster someone else and buy herself freedom. But Agyar refuses. Why? Because Paul isn't vulnerable in the way the monster feeds on. He's a boring, risk-averse man with little to lose, and therefore not satisfying prey. Agyar isn't a beast of flesh alone. He thrives on weakness, grief, and fear. Paul didn't give him that, so the plan backfires, leaving Mindy even more desperate.
Where is she?
She's gone.
The fate of Sonia Whitfield. When Sonia returns for her follow-up visit, everything unravels. She once again hears the bell and assumes Alice is locked in the basement, but this time, the danger is real. As soon as she steps inside, Agyar pulls her in, devouring her whole. This moment is crucial because it proves the monster isn't just metaphorical, it's both real and symbolic. Sonia's death adds real stakes to the story. People outside of Mindy's fragile world can and do fall victim to Agyar. It's not just in her head.
I'm here. You see.
The turning point, meeting Eleanor. In the midst of her despair, Mindy meets Eleanor, played by horror legend Heather Langenkamp. Eleanor is another single mom who recognizes the marks, both physical and emotional, that Mindy carries. She too has faced the monster, and she survived thanks to the support of her children. Eleanor offers wisdom Mindy desperately needs. Mothers don't have to do it all alone. At some point, children become part of the fight too. Instead of isolating Alice for protection, Mindy needs to bring her in, share the truth, and face the monster together. This encounter sparks a change in Mindy. For the first time, she allows herself to believe there's a way to win.
Right here! Mom! What's wrong with you?
Bringing Alice home. Mindy finally calls her mother and asks for Alice to return home. When Alice arrives, she's thrilled but confused. She asks why her mother pushed her away, and Mindy struggles to answer. Eventually, she tells Alice the truth about the monster in the basement. Alice is scared, and who wouldn't be? She's also skeptical, having heard her grandmother talk about her mother's struggles with addiction and mental health. But despite her fear, she trusts her mom enough to go into the basement with her. When they descend, the monster is gone. At first, this seems like victory, but it's actually a sign that Alice's presence itself makes Agyar weaker. The love and bond between mother and daughter is his true enemy.
As I chew her to the bone.
The final night, facing Agyar. The real climax comes when Agyar returns, more aggressive than ever. One night, Alice answers a knock at the door and meets a strange man who introduces himself as Agyar. She slams the door, but the message is clear. The monster is coming for them both. Together, Mindy and Alice enter the basement again. The lights flicker, voices fill the air, including the comforting words of Jack, Mindy's late husband. His voice reminds them they're not alone, that family ties, even broken ones, can give them strength. Agyar then gives Mindy a choice: stab him or surrender. For a moment, she falters, letting him feed again, just as she's done so many times before. But this time, Alice intervenes. In the most shocking twist, Alice takes a bite out of the monster herself. She shows her mom that instead of being consumed by him, they can consume him. Together, mother and daughter destroy Agyar by literally biting back, turning the metaphor on its head. Instead of being eaten away by fear and addiction, they reclaim their strength.
My name is Agyar. Can you say that?
The end credits. A future reclaimed. The credits give us a glimpse of life after the horror. Mindy is living peacefully in her home. Alice, now grown, comes back to visit her. It's a small but powerful moment that says everything. The bond between them survived. They endured the monster, the grief and the fear, and in the end, they found healing together.
My insides spill out and you will see the remains of 1,000.
Our nerdy thoughts. Little Bites isn't your typical horror flick. It's more of a psychological drama wrapped in a monster movie. Yes, the creature Agyar is terrifying, but the real horror lies in what he represents: addiction, grief, and the fear of being an inadequate parent. Spider-1 clearly modeled this film in the vein of The Babadook, where the monster is both literal and symbolic. Was the pacing a little stretched? Absolutely. The metaphor is hammered in so much that it risks losing its subtlety. But the emotional core, the bond between Mindy and Alice, keeps the film grounded. Krsy Fox as Mindy is heartbreaking and raw, while Alice's role as both innocent and savior gives the story its emotional punch. The ending is especially powerful. Alice choosing to bite the monster is such a bold reversal. It says, we don't have to let fear consume us. We can take control, even when it's terrifying. That final image of a healed future between mother and daughter shows us the monster wasn't just defeated, it was starved of its power. So, what did you think? Was Agyar terrifying enough, or did the metaphor overshadow the scares? And do you think Little Bites should have been a short film instead of a feature? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And that's a wrap on today's breakdown. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Little Bites, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss another spoiler-filled analysis. Until next time, this is Spoiler Master signing off from your nerdy show. Stay nerdy, stay spooky, and remember, sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones inside our own homes.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.